So how about the Green Bay Packers? Who would have thought that we are sitting here where all they have to do now is beat the Lions next week and they're in? Crazy enough, they control their own destiny with one game left. They had to beat the Dolphins and the Vikings, and we felt like it was going to be tough. Well, here they go. This is the team that has a legitimate chance. Everything is working now. Their offense is working, the defense is working, and that's the main thing I'm going to talk about. It's just what's working well for this team and why they're being able to be so effective. So let's start off with this play. What's going to happen here is it's going, this is the 4th down and 3, one of the bigger plays of the game, in the game that featured plenty of big plays. It's going to be a zone coverage play, and I like this decision to go for it. I think it makes sense, and to be honest, I like this play call. One of the things we talked about with the addition of TJ Hawkinson is that he's going to draw some extra attention, so take advantage of that in key moments like this. You see how he's running into a position where he could get into a gap in coverage. Look at how when his play begins, though, this is just good defense. And again, sometimes you got to tip your cap to the defender. I feel like every time there's an interception, we always say, oh, what's the quarterback doing here? But to me, this is not a terrible play. I mean, for one thing, there's just the obvious of it's a 4th down and 3. So getting rid of the football is always going to be the better option. You want to make sure that you don't not make a throw, so that part obviously makes sense. But really, I think this is just Rasul Douglas, he's the defender there. He's just doing a really good job of coming in and, reading the play and realizing where they were going with it. If he doesn't do that, this is an easy completion. And not just that, but the way that he's able to deflect it causes a interception that turns into a pick 6. Listen, is there an element of flukiness in that? Absolutely. Of course, there's an element of flukiness in the pick 6 thing there, obviously. But at the same time, you earn your own luck, right? And you play good defense and you knock enough passes down, eventually one goes to one of your teammates. That's just how that stuff works. And to me, that's kind of what I felt like the Packers did in this game in a lot of ways was, just being able to make the big plays, and really they played great on both sides of the ball. Heading over here, listen, I know that the passing statistics weren't exactly, that wasn't the highlight by any means. Obviously, everyone's, looking at the score and the defense and how well that's doing, but there were still some good offensive plays as well, and some good offensive passing plays as well. And this is going to be an example of it, where the Vikings are playing man coverage. It's a cover 2 man, so you have these one-on-one matchups, and this is where Allen Lazard has really been a key piece for Green Bay. And it's weird of Allen Lazard, where I feel like because they tried to make him a number 1 receiver, he kind of got, I think, maybe some unfair criticism. He's a really good role player, and when he's just doing his role, he can be very effective, and that's what he's going to do here, just trying to win a one-on-one matchup on a 3rd down and 10. So important play. As you see, you're going to notice that, he's just winning this matchup really easily. When he cuts, the defender who's covering him is still very far to the inside, as he's able to get the outside leverage where he wants, but still, it's a 3rd down and 10, right? You're going to have to catch the ball and still get all the way to the 46-yard line. It's just not going to be easy. However, beautiful throw from Rodgers, and Lazard is able to get there and get the 1st down. So just being able to do that and be able to make the simple plays and just have guys who can win one-on-one matchups, these are the things that weren't really working earlier on in the season and are working more now. Part of it really has been the receivers have stepped it up and played a lot better. Yes, their defense is kind of a big thing, is how that stepped up, but also the receiving core, I think, has played better. Now, going over here, there was some luck involved. I don't think even the most diehard Packers fans will sit here and say, okay, yeah, we got lucky at times. This is an example of really just a bad defensive play by Minnesota, bad defensive play by Minnesota, which, listen, one of the things I always talk about is a quarterback's job and an offense's job in general is to take advantage of, capitalize on your opponent's mistakes, and that's what Green Bay is going to do here, where you see I've highlighted a defender for Minnesota, and really, I could break down this play down and talk about everything, but the reality is, it's just a blown coverage. It's supposed to be man coverage. The guy who I've circled for Minnesota, he's supposed to be covering the guy I've circled for Green Bay, and he's just not going to cover him. He thinks it's zone. It's just one of those miscommunication things that can really cause just a terrible situation to happen at times. Watch how the defender really does not cover his guy because he thought it was zone coverage. He just didn't understand the coverage. But again, this is where you have to give credit to Green Bay of this stuff does happen in football. This is something that will happen from time to time. It's up to a good team to take advantage of that. As you see, Rodgers notices that Rodgers is going to get it over there, and he is going to get the touchdown on this play. Because again, yes, was that luck? Sure. Again, Rodgers himself would say, yeah, we got lucky on that one. But what he would also say, and he would be correct in saying, but you know, we did a good job in noticing it and getting the ball over there and taking advantage of that lucky break, which is absolutely true. And again, something like this where it's, okay, maybe saying this is a big part in the game feels silly because it's 27-3, but I don't know. Comebacks happen all the time. We just saw the Vikings have a huge 33-point halftime comeback. It feels possible. You score a touchdown here, go for two and get it. It's a two-score game, so it's possible. But this is where Kenny Clark comes in, who's had an up and down season, but I would still say is kind of been a bright spot of this defensive line that has had some issues. I think it's fair to say just the defense in general has had its issues, so he hasn't been able to get the pressures he typically gets, but I think he's still shown flashes, and this is going to be maybe his biggest one of the season. We're going up one-on-one against the right guard from Minnesota, and just watch how quickly he wins this. I mean, look at how this is going to be one of those just immediate wins. He gets over to Cousins, knocks the football out, and then falls on it. I mean, that's just a great play from Kenny Clark, and you need your superstars to play superstars sometimes, and they're doing that. You know, Rasul Douglas, maybe calling him a superstar is too much, but he's a star, I would say, and he's able to go out and make the big play. Kenny Clark's able to make the big play. Obviously, Rodgers is able to make some big plays, and the role players are contributing, which is why they're playing so well and why they have a great chance at making the playoffs. We would then go over to a play like this, which really is just kind of one of those, you're down bunch, try to make something happen, which I actually kind of respect Cousins in a way for this, just because, you know, let's be honest, a lot of times you see guys stat pad in this moment of you're down so much, let's try and just pick up some yards and make the stats look solid. Cousins is at least trying stuff here, where it's a first down and 10, 15 minutes left, and you're down 31 points, so gotta try to make something happen as you're down 4 scores, but realistically probably 5 scores here. Look at how when this play begins, you're going to notice that, okay, you can kind of see how it could work. You could see how you could talk yourself into this one, right? In a best case scenario of there's maybe a little bit of a window, but the reality is this one is just, it's not an open play. But at the same time, for someone like, you know, Cousins, and for someone like the Vikings at this point, you're trying to win a Super Bowl. You're trying to be competitive. You want to win this game to help out your playoff seeding. It's worth the, you know, throw an interception, who cares? You're trying to make stuff happen, and it's worth the chance to take there, I think. And I always like when guys do this. But you also have to go on the flip side for the Packers of, this is, again, when your opponent makes a mistake, let them make the mistake. And not just let them make the mistake, but capitalize on said mistake. And that's what Green Bay is going to do here, where they're in a situation where, okay, sure, dangerous pass. But you know what? How often do we see dangerous passes that don't turn into interceptions? I mean, that's why Pro Football Focus created their own stat of turnover-worthy plays. That's not the only reason why, but that's part of it, is because just because it's a dangerous pass doesn't make it an interception. You have to then do the rest of the work. But as you see, that's exactly what Green Bay does here, is they're able to pull off the interception. They get another touchdown with Aaron Rodgers' rush. So you know, things went well for Green Bay, essentially. And again, you have to feel good if you're a Packers fan. I mean, this season was considered a lost cause at a certain point. I mean, I had stopped making videos on them because I'm like, well, it's over. Who would have thought? You know, the NFC Championship game between Green Bay and Tampa Bay is going to be a wild one. At least that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.